Hey there, it's me here during COVID, getting worse. COVID's getting worse, so we got to pile up those books. And I wanted to go back to some local writers because two amazing books by local writers have just come out that you have to get because they're so good. First one I want to show you is Marge Piercy's 20th collection of poetry. She's also written scores of novels and essays and pretty much everything. This book, On the Way Out, Turn Off the Light, has some brilliant imagery in it and poems that talk about life and death and parts of her life, like playing in a chain-linked fence with neighborhood kids in Detroit, to deaths of cats who she loved very much, and the relationship that she has with life and death, really. It's really a beautiful book. And she just told me that she recorded the whole book herself. So check it out. You can listen to Marge Piercy, read her own book. She lives in Wellfleet. Now, to go with this, which I think is fun, her husband, Ira Wood, is also a writer, and he came out with this book that was published in, let me look at my notes, 2012. It's Ira's book called You're Married to Her. And he's married to Marge Piercy. Marge Piercy's super tough, badass chick, and most men would run scared with their tails between their legs because she will cut them down if she needs to. She has no trouble saying what she thinks. Ira's been with her for years and years, decades and decades, and they're wonderful. This book is hilarious. It's about his dating experience before Marge, how he met Marge, which is crazy. She was married and had a husband, and they had an open relationship, and Ira finds himself eating breakfast with him and her at their house one day, that kind of thing. But it's a hilarious book, and it came out on Leapfrog Press. It's still available. Leapfrog Press was originally owned by Marge and Ira. Ira was the publisher, but this book came out on Leapfrog after they sold it. Here's another good thing. Peter Alson, for those of you who don't know him, he is a professional poker player, also happens to be the nephew of Norman Mailer, very much like a son. He was really raised with his kids. This new book that he started his own press too, called Arbitrary Press, this book called The Only Way to Play It, is hilarious, disturbing, it runs the gamut. It's about a guy who's a professional poker player. And married. So it's about how a professional poker player tries to navigate a world that's pretty seedy, underground, and dangerous, and navigate life with a family, a wife and child who he loves. And it's really funny. I read it in 2 days. I just got it a little while ago. You should totally check it out. Peter Alson. It's a pretty awesome book. He spent every summer here in Provincetown, and in the winter he wrote his first book, which was called Confessions of an Ivy League Bookie. And that book was awesome, and it is being reissued, or has been reissued, with a different title. So look out for that. Finally, Alec Wilkinson. I have two connections to him. He lived in Wellfleet his whole life in the summers. He was a summer person. And he was a Bennington College graduate, as was I. This book, Midnights, came out in 1982. It's a memoir about when he was 23 years old and a summer cop in Wellfleet. He actually did it year-round in 1975, 76, I think. The book came out in 82. It's a hilarious look at old-timey Wellfleet. So check it out. I think you'll really enjoy it. And please read.